Okay, I just wanted to show you the quick covering. It's starting to rain. I guess I got most of that covered just in time, but that's what the undercoat came out like. Got some rails I'm going to add to that part. I just want to get a good covering on it. Although it's raining, it's pretty much dry to the touch for the moment. And just let that sit and dry. Finish drying for the most part. But got her undercoated. I'm going to work on that spot. Getting it filled in and taken care of next. Okay, we have put one coat, undercoat on it, but in spots I can see where it didn't quite, the cleaner stuff didn't quite get down to the paint the way it should. So it's not drying in some spots, or it's not taking. So what I'm going to do is spray a coat of oven cleaner over it to get all the loose grime and grease and stuff broken up. Then we're going to come back and put one more coat of undercoat on it. Hopefully it will dry and seep the way we want it to. Okay, so that's 2 cans of oven cleaner. Now that sits soaked for a while. I got my brush, I'm going to scrub it in some. Try to make sure we break all that grease and oil down. Okay, we're about to wrap it up because it's raining on us. But for GP, if you're going to undercoat it before you even spray it or even try to get any of the other stuff to clean it, I would suggest you go ahead and get a bottle, a few cans of, oven cleaner, spray it down, and get a pressure washer to spray it to get all the dirt and grit off, so you're not wasting money. I just wasted money on 6 cans of undercoat, and when I put the pressure washer on it, it sprayed it right off. So make sure you get the prep it real good, get the stuff, and I would suggest you go ahead and getting a few cans of oven cleaner so you can degrease it and just get all the grit and grime off of it so that the paint will stick good. Okay, at this moment, I just want to conclude for this time that this is the 3rd coat of oven cleaner. I sprayed 2 coats on, I scrubbed it in, pressure washed it, then this is the 3rd coat. This is the 7th spray of oven cleaner for the complete car. I've covered the other side, the top side of the shell, the engine bay, and the trunk area, and the inside component, or the inside of the chassis. So far we've used 7 cans. I've used 4 on the shell for the engine compartment, passenger compartment, and the trunk compartment. I've used 3 on the underside. I used 2 to coat it real good. We pressure washed it, and I sprayed this 3rd coat on it to let it finish breaking down stuff. I'm gonna let it set for a while, scrub it, and rinse it down. And let this sit, and we'll come back and start getting it ready for the spray paint for the primer. But I do suggest to go ahead, if you're gonna undercoat it, go ahead and get the oven cleaner, strip it down real good, get all your film, dirt, oil, residue off, and then come back and undercoat it. Because if you just even scrub it good, if you don't get something to remove that oil, it's just going to be an overlaying coat on top of the oil, and it's not going to work properly. What I'm doing now is, after that first coat of undercoating, I noticed that it wasn't quite clean enough, and the grease and residue and whatnot just when I pressure washed it, it sprayed it right off. So I went out and got some oven cleaner, sprayed oven cleaner on it, got it all wiped down, sprayed down, and scrubbed down. Then I came back with a coat of this here stuff, and I put on it, wiped it all down, try to get any more residue off. And now I'm just taking a cheap can of spray paint and lightly coating it just to make sure I got good coverage. Then I'll come back and redo the undercoating. But I'm gonna put this on, let it dry to make sure all my greasy spots and whatnot are cleaned up. These are only like $1.30 a can, $1.40 a can. And like I said, I just put a light coat on to see where I got good coverage, and then I'll come back and I'm gonna let this dry, and then we'll come back and put the final over. I'm gonna let this dry and then come back and put the final coat of undercoat on. I have 4 coats of spray on it. Give me a nice little covering on the bottom, and got a little bit of the engine compartment. But what I'm seeing already is what I like, because it's dry and it's sticking. Okay, see, some of that was undercoat stuff to begin with. I'm not going to peel all that off because it's going to keep what's there protected. I'm going to just break off the edges best I can, pretty much. But like I said, it's dry now. I'm not getting that residue like I was in the beginning. So I'm gonna pop 1 coat of undercoat on it, let that sit and dry tonight, come back and give it another shot, and we'll see how that's coming along. You're not gonna be able to see too much, but so I'm not even gonna waste our time. We'll be back tomorrow, check it out when it's dry. Okay, so today I came through and sprayed some. Okay, we got the undercoat sprayed on, and I went back and just sprayed a coat of flat black on the underframe. So I'm pretty much so completed with the undercoat and the paint. After I sprayed it, flipped it over, and letting it sit for a while, it's starting to dry now, those spots that weren't dry. So I'm gonna leave it up on this side and let it dry. He decided he wanted to go white. I nudged out a little spot right here because that's where the rust has started coming in. That's where I had one of the little spots. So I'm gonna punch that in like that. And I'm gonna bust these little rust spots down and work on getting her primed up. But as you see, also, that's how easy the rack is. We just flipped it from one side and turned it over, and now we can work this side. So this little rack comes in pretty handy. If you go heavier cars or whatnot, you probably want to use 2x6s instead of 2x4s, but this here is pretty light, so we just use these 2x4s. To top it off for this moment, we have the lining coated on the bottom side. Got that sprayed like we want. I think that's pretty much going to capture the underside. So now for the inside, we went ahead and sprayed the trunk. We sprayed the cockpit compartment, the interior, and we also sprayed the engine compartment. So all of that has been sprayed with a coating of clear just to protect it a little bit. I didn't put too much on the inside, just to coat on the trunk. And like I said, we've used today 3 cans of the truck bed coating and 2 cans of the clear. We're going to go ahead and doctor on this area a little bit. We decided to just go ahead and do it without a metal replacement. We're just putting that short-haired, short fiber Bondo in there. Going to see how it works because it's going to be covered with a skirt. But we're going to let this sit up, dry overnight, and do that spot. Come back and start working on the subframe. Okay, third time's the charm. This time around we were able to break up that much more residue off the frame. I'm going to spray it down and clean it with some brake cleaner. And right now it's feeling pretty clean. We're going to see how it takes and take it from there. Okay, so we have 3 cans of brake cleaner into it. Got it all sprayed down. We're gonna let that sit and dry for a while. In the meantime, we're gonna let's tinker on something. For tonight, we got 3 cans of brake cleaner. Took that stripper and oven cleaner. I took a stripper in certain spots and just scrubbed it down where like the greasy feel was thick. And then that primer is for the other side. The oven cleaner, sprayed a nice coat of oven cleaner on the bottom side. It said if it's under 120 degrees, then you could do it in 5 minutes. But since it's just, we're going to spray it on, we're just going to let it sit overnight. Come back at least maybe perhaps tomorrow and rinse that off. But with the primer, we went ahead and prepped the areas on the inside that we needed to touch up again, and we're gonna take and let that sit overnight or next few days to make sure it really cures and sets really good. Any spots are covered, so we probably just let it go ahead and sit in for a couple of days. Come back and pop the white over that, or as we go along. I'm pretty sure how it's coated right now. Probably even pop another coat of gray prime over it before we do the white. We got the white is fully coated in white, so come back with the gray will let us know we had the second coat prep done in those areas. But this is where we are at the moment. Get that water down from out of there. I probably will lay it back down. I don't know if any kind of storms or anything is coming through, but I think I can let it down and just let it dry the way it is. And when we come back, we'll set it up and rinse it down. Okay, for now we're putting the prime. We're gonna do this bottom again. Hopefully got it thoroughly clean. Try this bottom again. I'm gonna use my basic gray primer for the base, but I think we finally got it all clean, and whatever the case is, we're getting ready to roll with it. So we're gonna finish the bottom and let it dry, and probably just find something else to touch up on while we're waiting on that. I just try to document my cans. Right now this is 3 cans of gray. Just picked up those 2 new ones, and also these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cans. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cans of white. 2 more cans of brake cleaner, and 4 cans black. Okay, got those 2 heat, 1 undercoat, black primer, 4 primers, 2 brake cleaners, and what was it? 1, 2, 3, 4, I believe 5 flat whites, and then the 3 grays that are over there. Okay, we're undercoated, primed out, got a nice first coat of gray, and come back and pop a coat of black on it, probably let it sit and dry overnight, and come put another coat of black and the undercoat on tomorrow. Okay, this is how the black is coming along. This is just gray primer and black primer is what we've coated with today. Put a base coat of that gray primer on, and then we came back and sprayed it with that black primer along the drivetrain tunnel, I'm going to take them, and in the engine compartment where the black is, I'm going to spray heat treatment, heat paint on it, and we're going to seal it with that, and I'll let this dry overnight, come back and check it and see how it's drying, and then come back and finish tightening up on the shell. Okay, to coat the underside, we use 3 cans. This time around we use 3 cans of gray, 4 cans of black, and 1 can of heat paint down the middle. I think that's going to cover it for the black, for the underside. Finally, the best thing, and my advice is to make sure you do it the first time. Take as much time as you need to clean all the dirt, oil, and grease off of the frame. As much time as needed, because this here is my 3rd coating, so that's, twice the wasted amount of paint, material, and time. But this time should be much drier now. As you see, it's not peeling off, it's not rolling off, rubbing off. I think it's pretty tight this time. I'm hoping that's going to be it for the underside, and we'll go ahead and touch up. I'm not really worried about touching up. Let's see, we'll touch up the engine compartment, the inside, and the trunk, so we can start pulling our wires. The shell, we pretty much so got it covered, so I'm satisfied with that for the time being until we get to it and start putting paint, prepping it for paint. I'm going to come through and fix this. I haven't decided what direction I'm going to go with this, because it's going to be covered with a skirt. I'm thinking about just putting a sheet of fiberglass over it just to seal the holes and to seal it up. But we're still toying around with it. Like I said, we just got the undercoating, the black spray for the undercoat, underside, undercarriage, and I think I'm going to just leave it like that. I'm not going to worry about that extra coat of undercoating on this at the moment. Probably use it on the axles or subframes or something, but I think I'm satisfied with that in black. Come back when the sun's out tomorrow, see what it looks like, maybe give it a couple days to set and dry, and then we'll come back and decide what we're going to do with this part. If anything, I probably, like I said, areas like this is why we're making the changes. I'm not so worried about it being pristine as a special edition 95, so that's why I'm not going to worry about the special edition in that color. So we're just going to go with it and have a little fun and see what we come up with. So we're going to get here, go ahead and get, like I said, since we're finished on this, it really took, I'm really happy with the way it took. That there, the middle and the tunnel is heat coated, and this side is just primer. gray, and then black. Oh yeah, and we decided we were going to go ahead and work this area. We just use short hair, short strand, Bondo. For today, we're putting a can of the truck bed coating on, not in the rail, not in the drivetrain, but basically where the fender wells, this portion of the underside, and this area. I'm gonna end up using 4 cans to put a coat on that. We got 2 already, and that's got us all the top part and half of the bottom part. So I'm gonna get 2 more just to finish the bottom and have a little bit left for the other side when I flip it up. I'm gonna spray this today, let this dry, and probably start, let's see, still got to do the inside. So I'll probably wipe it clean and put a protective coating over that. But this is where we are at the moment. Okay, I finally have the finish on the under side that I wanted. It's dry, it's clean. I'm not getting any kind of release, and ready to move on. It turned out pretty good.